Hey there, Hail Stalkers. Hope you guys are having a good Saturday. Things are shaping up to be pretty interesting as we head over the next few days, especially into this weekend. So let's get in these weather headlines. Comment where you're from. We're going to try to get you all the forecasts that you're wanting to see for this weekend. Sunday and Monday are looking very interesting and also covering a large portion of the nation as well. Up to 43 million people will be under that risk for severe weather. So, again, we still looking at 4 days straight of that severe weather. Things are shaping up to be a very interesting weekend and into our next work week as well. So it's not just stopping as we get into the weekend. We are looking at Sunday and Monday. I think those are going to be our days. Like that's going to be the days where we see that biggest severe weather opportunity. More than likely, again, covering up to 43 million people, especially across parts of the southern plains and central plains, and even in the Midwest as well. We are expecting all things come to an end, so we more than likely will be seeing these storms coming to an end later as we get into this week. Cold front's gonna be bringing those temperatures back down. It's like 85 here right now in Oklahoma City, definitely a little bit above that normal. We could be actually seeing temperatures reaching to the record highs today. So I'm already kind of tapped out when it comes to summer, but we're approaching that time of year again. Yesterday was a little bit busy, not exactly anything super crazy, but we did see plenty of wind reports just like yesterday, except for a little bit more en masse and maybe a little bit more wider coverage across that afternoon and evening. There's also a couple of hail reports. Northern Iowa saw almost baseball-sized hail, so not quite. It was mostly tennis ball was the where they capped out at in Northern Iowa. But they did see a lot of those 1 to 1.5 inch reports as we went into that overnight. A couple wind reports as we got into the later part of the evening for your Saturday. Current conditions right now, we're seeing that cold front really forming itself up. That's going to be that line we'll be watching for today, as we are going to be seeing more of the opportunity for wind and hail, although we are looking at that possibility of maybe seeing a little bit of that tornado threat today. Temperatures right now sitting in the low 80s. It's feeling a little bit warmer. Oklahoma City currently we're sitting at 84, so it is a little bit warmer than what's seeing on our current temperatures right here. But look at Kansas City. Oh my goodness, 85 degrees all the way up in Kansas City. It is a warm one today, and that warmth is going to be fueling these storms as we head into this afternoon. Like I said, 43 million people expected to be under severe risks for today. It's a 3 out of 5 risk. I don't think that they have issued a new one yet. Let me just check really quickly. I want to make sure, and just in case I haven't missed anything. I hate to miss over something. Let's see. Outlooks. They did expand out a little bit, but we're still sitting at an enhanced risk for this current day. Woodstock is that Connecticut? Unfortunately, Connecticut's not going to be seeing any kind of severe weather today or the rest of this week. It's really going to be mainly in toward parts of just going to be in the central part of the country. Although Tahlequah, you might see a little bit of that risk later on. It is going to be later this week. I'll get to that in just a moment. Louisville, Kentucky, you're actually in the risk for today. You're in that slight risk for today. So I'd say today's going to be your best chance in Louisville to be seeing that severe weather. So that would be my guess for today, that severe weather. As we advance to tomorrow, we're looking at more of a classic setup. That's going to be the day that we really watch for that classic setup against Sunday and Monday. Those are going to be our days we're paying the closest attention to. Today is a conditional tornado threat with mostly hail and wind expected to be the main threats, but tomorrow it's an all hazards risk. Tornadoes, large hail, eventually transitioning to wind. It's really a hail and tornado threat with that lingering wind threat on your Sunday afternoon. We get into our Monday, we're seeing a much larger, this is a very large area. This is covering millions of people all the way from the UP of Michigan down toward almost Dallas. So again, supercells with very large hail, possibly strong tornadoes. It's all going to be there moving in later to that wind risk as you head into your evening and overnight for that Monday. We're still going to continue to see these storms as we get into our Tuesday, though they're going to be a little bit lesser on the threat risk. This is at the point where the really tapped out atmosphere, and this will continue to move on to the East Coast, which I think probably by like Wednesday or Thursday, the only real chance I think Connecticut could actually see any kind of that opportunity for seeing any real bit of that severe weather. Connecticut, that's not a place that usually sees severe weather, is it? But again, as we get into that Wednesday, we are going to be watching for that severe weather threat to eventually start dissipating. We're looking at the jet stream here. So this large scale trough right here. This is what we're watching over the next couple of days. This is going to start digging in, seeing this thing called negatively tilted is what we're expecting it to start pushing in as we head into our Monday. And this could be a big threat because as we look going down here, we see this swinging down, swinging back up, this upwards movement of these lines right here. That is what we call ascent. We need that for severe weather. Large scales of this right here. This is we called short waves several times already. This is a long wave. This is the main event, basically, as we get into our Sunday. Moving into your Monday, then we start seeing maybe a little bit of a negatively tilted trough here. This is almost neutral, but as we get into the afternoon, we could see it getting negatively tilted. That's where we're going to see that best chance for that severe weather. So I would say between Sunday and Monday, Monday might be our best day, but I can't discount Sunday yet. We know more about Sunday than Monday at this point with our short-range models really digging in on Sunday. But both Sunday and Monday are looking very impressive. As we get into our Tuesday, that cold front's really going to start pushing through. It's going to start seeing a lot of these lines here getting really combined in together. That's that cold front moving across as we get into our Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That low pressure eventually swings off into parts of the country, and we could eventually see a high pressure trying to develop as we get into our late week. That could shut off a little bit of severe weather, although there's a little bit of a short wave moving in right there. So maybe we could see some more storms late week. Again, we're looking at almost a week ahead in time, so it's very difficult to get an exact measurement of what's going on. So for today, your wind risk is looking most prevalent. We're going to be talking a lot about North Platte today. I'm just letting you know North Platte for today is definitely going to be the bullseye zone for seeing the best risk of severe weather. Had a couple people asking about Denver yesterday. Denver is in that wind, and to spoil it a little bit, it is also in the hail risk for today as well. Though I think Hayes and North Platte is going to be the best chance to see that strong wind. You can see a little bit of this little finger kind of going down across parts of western Oklahoma and western Texas. That could bring a little bit more of that severe weather. Moving into the other side of what we're looking at, there is more of this Lexington. You are looking at Louisville, Bowling Green. Could see some more of those stronger winds. Maybe Indianapolis, Columbus, possibly Chicago and St. Louis could see some wind, though you're kind of outside that main risk for today. So the tornado risk is something that hasn't really been something we've been watching very closely. Actually, I'm going to move myself real quick. Let me get that moved up there. There we go. So the tornado risk has not been something we've been watching very closely because it's been very low. But now we're starting to see a little bit better tornado risk really starting to move through. And that could eventually bring in some better chances for those tornadoes to really form. Again, North Platte, Colby, Kansas, Omaha, Des Moines, you're all in that risk for the moderate chance. Again, we're not expecting a huge opportunity for tornadoes today. It's really going to be tomorrow. That's going to be the day that we're going to start seeing those chances for tornadoes a lot more prominent rather than today. Again, tomorrow, and then your Monday is probably going to be that best bet. So let's get into your hail risk for what we're expecting for today. Forecasted max hail size, we can see the possibility of all the way up to that softball size. I do think we could get one. I wanted to put this as baseball because yesterday I put it as baseball. We didn't get to baseballs yesterday. We were just almost there, but I think our opportunities are going to be a little bit better to see that hail. That's why I decided we're going to put ourselves on it, that softball-sized hailstones. For your hail risk for today, you are, again, looking at North Platte. North Platte just off of Colby, Kansas. That's going to be that bullseye zone for seeing that best chance for the large hail. Again, if we're going to see a baseball, we're going to see it close to North Platte or Colby, Kansas. More than likely, you can see where this the dry line setup is going to be forming in. We could see some large hailstones. This is a much more conditional threat down here in parts of southern Kansas, western Oklahoma, and northwest Texas. That's probably going to be a much more conditional threat for hailstones. Notice Woodward's at a low risk, but if we can get storms there, they could be pretty large. Moving in over toward parts of the eastern parts of, you're looking in the Midwest, we could see some hailstones, but it's going to be tougher to get a lot of those hailstones out there, the bigger ones at least. I do think we have a chance of seeing it, especially getting across parts of Kentucky where we could see some convection, but it's going to be tough to get those hailstones then. Future radar, we are watching, again, the development across this region right here in the afternoon. We can get those hailstones to really start forming up. We could see some very large hail with these storms again later in the evening. If these were going to be a few hours earlier, we could be seeing a pretty significant severe weather event. I'm talking like a very significant severe weather event, but just a little bit later, which is honestly a bit of our limiting factor for our Saturday. So as we look at this on our Sunday, still seeing more of those chances. Could see some rain in Chicago as well. Saturday, again, watching this conditional threat for severe weather. If we can get storms here, we are going to be seeing the possibility of some decently large hail. But some models just don't want to put nothing out there. You see just a couple very dinky little storms, about like we had yesterday, just mostly a wind risk for your day on that day. Significant hail model is showing some pretty good risks of that hail out there in parts of, again, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa. It's really just going to be where these storms line up. So as we watch, you can see these storms really trying to fire up. Again, this is going to be our best area right near this low pressure system. That will be where we will see the best chance for the largest hailstones. Again, seeing these storms starting to fire up. There you got those yellows in there. So I do believe we could see some large hail. It's just going to be tough with this current setup right now. I do think we're limited by the timing of these storms. So going into your Sunday, this is when we start seeing that hail risk really start to rear its ugly head. Sioux Falls is pretty much the pinpoint forecast for your Sunday. I think if we're going to get some large hail tomorrow, it'll be over in Sioux Falls, maybe stretching down toward almost Omaha, but it's going to be a little bit harder. But I do think that area is going to be the best chance to see that large hail for your Sunday. So that'll be the most impressive day. Wind risk, not as prevalent for your Sunday. It is there. I do think we're going to be seeing that, but it's mostly going to be a supercell event. By the time these storms eventually turn into what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, that's when I think we're probably going to be seeing these storms starting to get tapped out. So while the wind risk is there, it's nothing compared to the hail risk and the tornado risk. We are sitting at a level 3 out of 5 for your tornado risk. Again, Sioux Falls, almost Omaha. We're in between North Platte and Omaha, I think is going to be the best chance to see Nebraska tornadoes, which, again, I've heard a lot of chasers saying this is going to be the day, but that's, of course, to be seen. We're still watching this very closely to see what happens. But, again, that tornado risk is going to be there starting tomorrow. We do have a small one today, but tomorrow is going to be that bigger day for sure when it comes to that tornado risk. Hail forecast, this is for Monday. Notice that large swath here. We've got a lot of areas. Madison, Wisconsin, Des Moines, Kansas City, Wichita, almost Oklahoma City's in that highest risk as well. Chicago, you're in there as well. It's more of a conditional threat. Again, Wichita is going to be that pinpoint forecast for tomorrow. Again, if we see some large hailstones, it's going to be in Wichita, not tomorrow, for your Monday. For Monday, Wichita will be that day. I think we'll see some pretty large hail. We've been talking about this cold front as well. It's going to be moving across not Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This will bring some temperatures down as we get into that latter part of the week. Notice temperatures much cooler across parts of the Great Basin, Northern Rockies, Northern Plains can be seeing a lot of those. But it's really going to be giving way as it makes its way in. Noticing temperatures just a little bit below normal for your Wednesday across most of the central part of the country. That will knock down severe chances pretty well. But by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, we're going to be already back toward pretty normal temperatures. So really back to normalcy, really not really seeing a cool down where we're going to be getting cold, but it will be bringing us from way above average to actually seeing near record high temperatures here in Oklahoma City for today and tomorrow to somewhere we usually see for our late May. Getting into our Sunday, you can already start seeing that cold front moving its way across when it comes to those temperatures. Highs still going to be in the 80s. Look at that cold front right there on your Sunday. This is going to almost stall out. Notice still on our Monday, it's still right about at this axis right here in the Northern Plains in the north and the Great Basin area. But as we get into our Tuesday, that's when it starts surging southward. That will more than likely knock down severe weather chances. Tuesday afternoon, Oklahoma City's at 71, Kansas City's at 68. So we're going to start seeing that severe weather machine really get shut down as we get into our Tuesday for the Plains areas. But look at over in between the Appalachians and the Plains over in that Mississippi River Valley, Ohio River Valley, much warmer temperatures. Memphis at 90 degrees. So I really do think that we're going to be seeing much better chances for severe weather out there on your Tuesday. Wednesday could be seeing maybe some Atlantic severe storms. It's difficult to get storms out that far, but it is absolutely possible as we get into that Wednesday and Thursday. So back to your future radar. We're seeing again that enhanced risk for today. Again, North Platte. I think that's going to be our center point that we're going to be watching for today. Is going to be North Platte, Nebraska, and maybe even to Colby, Kansas. So watching those storms initially firing up. Again, 6 o'clock when we start seeing a lot of these storms, you can see out here stretching just south of Cincinnati near Bowling Green, Lexington, most of Kentucky, really seeing these storms initiating in the warm sector here. Meanwhile, you got these storms along the low pressure, the surface low, I should say. This is going to be bringing some storms in maybe to Omaha, again, North Platte. Denver, you're going to be conditional on if these storms can fire to the west or to the east of you. If they fire to the west of you, you could see some storms in Denver. If they fire to the east of you, sorry about your luck, Chuck. You won't be seeing those storms for Denver. Again, over the cold front, you can see, or then the dry line, I should say. We go over at the dry line, you could see a handful of these storms trying to fire up later on in the evening. As we get into our Sunday, there's more of that risk right there along the frontal zone. You can see around 5:30, 6 o'clock, starting to see storms trying to fire up, and they will begin to fire later in the afternoon. Again, if these storms could fire up earlier, we could be looking at a very, very, very significant severe weather event. We could also see these supercells again for tomorrow, your Sunday, Monday. That tornado risk does reappear. So keep that in mind as you get into that Sunday. We're looking at just a wind and hail risk mostly for today, and then come Sunday and Monday, it's an all hazards risk. Monday, still seeing more of these storms trying to fire up yet again. As this cold front pushes its way out, noticing these storms, they do track their way out of the region. With a little shortwave, we could see more of these showers and storms trying to move their way across Thursday. Don't think these will be severe. I think it's going to be too cool. But hey, anytime we can get rain before summer in the central and southern plains, we will take it any day of the week for sure. Again, by Friday, noticing a lot of these storms are really moving out of the region, out toward the East Coast. Again, you could have some storms on your Thursday and Friday in the East Coast. It's difficult to get these storms, severe storms that far out into the East Coast, but it is absolutely possible. Going to the extended temperature outlook. This right here, noticing temperatures a little bit cooler across parts of southern Texas, but much warmer. This is that 21st to 25th. I forgot to update this time frame here. But this is, again, near the end of your May. So we will be seeing these temperatures trying to warm back up yet again when it looks at the precipitation as well for the next couple of days. There we go. You will be seeing an above average amount of precipitation in the southern half of the nation. This is eerily similar to El Nino patterns, which we have just got ourselves into. We're sitting just barely on the cusp of an El Nino condition, which that means usually we're in an El Nino condition at this point. So we are seeing the El Nino kicking in. We did a video on this not too long ago, so go check that out on our YouTube if you do want to see more about the El Nino, because it is coming in fast. One last time, if you guys missed it, anybody watching, if you want to see anything about your city, let me know. Comment where you're from. We'll try to get you a good look at your forecast, what your best day seeing severe weather will be. For your Saturday, again, it's going to be over from North Platte to almost Omaha, trying to stretch into Denver. Again, it just depends on where these storms initiate. West of Denver, you're getting storms. East of Denver, you ain't getting storms. Sorry about it. But as we get into tomorrow, we are watching this kind of spreading out along the frontal zone. This is going to be giving us a much better chance of supercells to form, meaning we're going to be seeing that chance of tornadoes mixed in with hail. The wind threat is there, but it's not going to be what we're expecting to be the main threats for your Sunday. Moving into your Monday, starting to scoot this further south and east as that cold front starts to push it. But it's not really taking hold just yet, so it's not going to be completely linearizing these storms, meaning still going to have that possibility of hail and possibility of tornadoes, along with the wind threat as well for your Monday. Now, as we get into our Tuesday, cold front's basically got this thing in its stranglehold. We're looking at mostly a wind threat. Could still see some hail and tornado threats as we get into our Tuesday, though, so don't completely count that out. We're going to be hopping off here. Follow us on all of our social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're probably going to be live later today just to talk about what we're seeing for our severe weather later on this afternoon, or covering the severe weather if we do start seeing large hail in some cities. If you're interested in getting a hail map, I would say just go directly to our website or shoot us an email. The website gives you everything you need to know about what we do here at HailTrace. We got several meteorologists that are working around the clock, always updating these maps minute by minute as these storms progress. You actually can see the maps, get a preview of them, and if you want to, you absolutely purchase them. We got hail, wind, and tornado maps. They're awesome. I honestly use them for a lot of things that I do with here at HailTrace, just using the maps myself. So it's very, very useful. Absolutely go check them out if you want to. But we're going to be hopping off here. So you guys definitely want to be talking more about that. We'll be more than likely live later on. So just keep it in mind that you will be seeing us more than likely the rest of this weekend and into next week. So don't go anywhere. HailTrace is going to be on all this. So I'll see